Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are talking about 9 ways to update your cheap furniture using IKEA. Yes, we're gonna take your cheap furniture and we're going to update it very affordably using IKEA. So you're gonna walk away from today's video with a space that looks super luxe and high end without breaking the bank. There is nothing better, so you definitely wanna watch today's video. Now, before we jump in, I want to say I make tons of videos about how to pick out the luxurious furniture from IKEA. We've done that. We know those items, but what do we do for the items we already own? We can't afford to buy new ones. How do we jazz them up? How do we really achieve the luxe look for less? Well, that's what today's video is all about, so let's jump into it. The first way to elevate your space using IKEA is to pick up those IKEA spotlights. So what do I mean by that? I mean the little round spotlights that you can add to your cabinets or onto your shelves. So basically what I want you to do with these is I want you to actually highlight the pieces you have on display. Whether that's family photos, dishes, vases, I want you to highlight those pieces. Something that happens all the time with shelves, regardless of how much that shelf costs, is that we kind of get lost, right? We just kind of see the frame of the shelf, that's it. We can't really see what's inside of that cabinet. Well, if we have spotlights, it really directs your attention. Not only is this good because you're looking at those things you've invested in, if you're buying IKEA furniture, you're buying furniture that just isn't really pizzazzy. If it's kind of boring, it's actually going to take attention away from that. So it's going to be more about what you've put inside of your cupboard on top of your shelves and less about the shelf itself. So instead of splurging on a $2,000 shelf, get that Billy bookcase. Use that Billy bookcase you already have and add those spotlights. I promise you it's really going to elevate a space. If you don't believe me, think about artwork. Think about what it looks like when you have just a painting on the wall versus a painting with a picture light. Think about what it's like even in your basic kitchen when you have those lights under your cabinet so that you can see to chop over there or to turn on your microwave. It really makes a difference. It helps with the utility of the space, but it also helps you just know where things are. And that is super duper important. So get these spotlights. IKEA has little round ones. They have bar shaped ones. They have so many different options. And I promise you, it's really going to elevate your space. And we're going to be less focus on the fact that the basic furniture is IKEA. Now, before we even get further in this video, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having IKEA furniture. I always want you to live within your means. Just because you don't have a lot of money now doesn't mean that we can't make your home look very high end. That is the entire premise of my YouTube channel. So what we're doing today is we're taking that IKEA furniture and we're making it look better. And that's why we're not choosing pieces that already look luxe. We're choosing really basic pieces, the pieces that most of us have access to when we have a smaller budget, and we're going to see how we can improve them. The next way to instantly elevate your IKEA product is to actually get curtain clips and rings instead of just getting a basic curtain rod. So IKEA has really great curtains, and I put these curtains in my luxury spaces all the time because curtains are really expensive. One panel, if you have taller ceilings, really if you have ceilings that are greater than 9 feet, a single panel can be $100 or $150. And for a lot of people, that is a pretty penny. So what do? We go to IKEA. Now the IKEA curtains, I think they're pretty good quality to begin with. So you can get really any pair of curtains from there and you'll be good to go. But something that really distinguishes really nice curtains from smaller curtains is the hardware and the pleating. So what I want you to do is when you get your IKEA curtains, whichever ones you get, I want you to use curtain rings. I think they always look so much more high end than just using grommets or by just shoving your curtain on the rod. It really adds a lot of dimension there and it looks fantastic. Think about all the luxury spaces. You always see the curtain rings and the clips, especially in modern spaces, and that's kind of what we're looking for here. Obviously, if you have a more traditional space, you can hang things right on the bar that looks very nice, but we want to use that black IKEA hardware and we want to use those black rings, right? We have to stick with the rings. To take it a step further, what I also want you to do is use those pleat clips. So IKEA also does sell clips, so it will actually create those pleats and really train your curtains so that they look super luxe. You don't have to steam them all the time, you don't have to iron them all the time. You can create the pleats, you can make there be a pleated look. So you don't have to spend an arm and a leg on those curtains. You just have to use IKEA's products very, very wisely. So when it comes to this, you can get the curtains from IKEA, the hardware from IKEA, the clips from IKEA. You can do whatever it is you need to do using IKEA products. Just know the right ones to pick up. Now, if you want your curtains to look even more luxe, I want you to take that tip that I just gave you and also add a layer of shears. So what really makes curtains look very high end is that we have a lot of layering. Layering just looks luxe. We all agree agree about that. It's a basic of interior design. So what you can do is actually get a sheer curtain from IKEA and then also a light filtering curtain. So you'll have two different layers of curtains. Again, you can still use those IKEA hardware. They do have double rods, they do have double clips, so you can do whatever it is that you need to do, and you'll just establish dimension there. If you don't want to do it with curtains, you can do it with blinds, you can do it with shades, you can do it with anything, but do that layering, train those curtains, and use those clips, and you'll be good to go. If you use the IKEA curtains in conjunction with the hardware, the double rod, and those pleat clips, I promise you, your curtains are going to look super luxurious. And you don't even have to use IKEA curtains. Again, that's kind of the point of this video. You can get curtains from any really affordable store and use this hardware and apply this technique, and it's going to look super high end. Now, one of the most expensive rooms in the house is the bedroom. And you're like, why? Well, you need a mattress, you need a bed base, you need nightstands, you need a myriad of things to make a really well-crafted bedroom. And the part of the bedroom that you tend to sink a lot of money into is actually the bed itself. Because you need the mattress, you need the bed frame, you need a mattress protector, then you need the rest of the bedding. And bedding is super expensive. Nowadays, really high quality duvet covers cost you upwards of $350. So how can we dress our bed really, really affordably? Well, first things first, we want to use the velvet covers from IKEA. They look very luxurious. They look the same as the velvet covers from every luxury store I've ever been to, and they have so many different colors. Just look for the Sanella collection from IKEA. So we have those velvet covers, but what we're going to do to actually make it look really luxe is to double stuff those pillows. I know if you've been here before, you've heard this before, but double stuffing a pillow makes all of the difference because it's really nice and full. There are no air pockets. There's not an opportunity for part of the pillow to kind of look slouchy, which is something that does happen a lot. So you can't have a slouchy pillow, therefore it looks a lot more luxe and full, and honestly it just requires a little bit less upkeep, so it makes it easier for you to actually live in your space. So double stuff those pillows. You can use pillows from anywhere, you can use pillow covers from anywhere. Again, I think the IKEA ones are good, so if we're balling on a budget, let's get everything from IKEA. We're gonna get those Sanella covers. If you don't have an IKEA nearby, then you can get the ones from Amazon. They're called Miele velvet covers. They're also very good, and then you can get those IKEA for jaw drawer pillow inserts. I always want you to use down unless you don't use down for ethical reasons, and it'll look really, really nice and fluffy and full, and you're gonna get that luxurious look for under $15. If you don't believe me when it comes to overstuffing your pillows, I want you to watch my video on 60-second fixes. In this video, I actually work through common interior design mistakes, and I show you how overstuffing a pillow versus normally stuffing your pillow really, really makes a difference. It looks so high end, and it doesn't really cost you that much money at all, just a few dollars, but it's really going to transform your space, whether it's a living room, bedroom, or otherwise. And like I said, bedding is expensive, so the next way to elevate your space using IKEA products is to actually use tablecloths as bed linens. And you're like, Kiva, what are you talking about? A throw blanket or a coverlet, they can also be upwards of $200, which is a lot of money. And if you have a king size bed or a queen size bed, you really need a large size to really get the full effect. Because what we see people do all the time is they get these throws that are really, really tiny, and they try to use them as a quilt or a coverlet. And a quilt or a coverlet needs to cover the entire bed. So you're kind of selling yourself short. But how do we get that without breaking the bank? Well, we go to the tablecloth section of IKEA. IKEA has tons of tablecloths that have really good patterns and textures, and we're just going to use that to dress the bottom of our bed. No, we're not going to sleep with it. I mean, I guess you could. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's going to add that layer of bedding that adds so much detail, even though no one at all literally sleeps with it, but you're going to be able to do it affordably. You're going to spend $25 or $30 on a tablecloth and drape that over your bed, as opposed to $200 or $250 on a quilt or coverlet. Then you can also get your throw blankets from IKEA as well. They also look really nice and luxe. Stick to the ones that are made out of wool and don't have too much texture to them, because when they have too much texture, they tend to pill, and we don't want that. But the combination of the tablecloth and the throw, it really looks luxe. Splurge on that duvet insert, splurge on like maybe your sheets and your duvet cover, but you can save by using tablecloths as the bedding for the end of the bed, that real dressing aspect of the bedding. And I know you think that maybe I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I'm going to put a picture up. This is actually a real budget makeover that I did for someone. We spent under $300 on this room makeover, and the way we helped make this bed look so nice and luxe was actually by using a tablecloth at the base of the bed. And again, we still have those IKEA pillows on the bed as well. So you can see they're working really, really well together to really elevate the space. The next way to elevate your space using IKEA is to layer rugs. Now this one only works for smaller spaces, so keep that in mind. If you have a big, massive living room, this does not apply to you. But if you have a space where the largest rug size it could accommodate would be an 8x10, listen up. So IKEA has jute rugs, basic white rugs, just basic rugs that are really affordable as compared to other stores. So what I want you to do is get that basic rug, mostly a jute rug, especially if you're transitional or bohemian or eclectic, get that. Then we can get a smaller accent rug, because rugs that have tons of pattern and texture and color, they tend to be more expensive. I've seen rugs that are 6x9 still be upwards of $1,000. Well, if we can get our accent rug from IKEA, maybe that's more of a splurge, or we've gotten our accent rug somewhere else and we've kind of burned through our rug budget. Instead of having our space kind of look off by having the wrong rug size, we'll have that base rug that we got from IKEA super affordably. That way, everything is scaled correctly. You get the accent rug of your dreams. You get all the color and texture that you're looking for. Plus, your space does look super dimensional because you're layering, and layering is crucial to a beautifully designed space. So if this doesn't really make sense to you, we got pictures up on the screen that kind of helps explain this. In Studio McGee rooms, for example, you'll see they have a jute rug, then they'll have an oriental rug or a geometric rug on top, and there's tons of pattern there. And again, we get to save money on that pattern rug because a 6x9 is cheaper by a 9x12, and it can be cheaper by almost $500. And maybe getting that rug from the base rug from IKEA and then getting that smaller rug is actually cheaper than getting one big rug. Again, this works best for bohemian spaces, eclectic spaces, even glam spaces, but I did want to put that out there. Now, if you like cowhide rugs, something else you can do is you can layer those. IKEA does sell them, and you can layer them on top of one another. I actually have layered faux cowhide rugs in my living room, and basically what I did is I just put them at an angle. And because they're at an angle, it really helps make them look like a really big rug, even though they're smaller rugs. And buying these two smaller rugs was actually cheaper than getting one big rug. So you really do have to look at the numbers for something like this, because sometimes it won't be worth it. But get your IKEA rugs and layer them up, or layer up your existing rugs with IKEA rugs. IKEA rugs will help you save so much money on getting something really expensive, especially because you can go to IKEA and pick up that big rug instead of having to pay for that shipping, because that shipping sometimes adds $100 onto our budget, and sometimes we just don't have that to spend. The next way to elevate any IKEA piece is to actually swap out the hardware. So a lot of IKEA furniture comes with really ugly knobs. I know, I hate to say it, but the knobs are hideous. They're so ugly, and they look typical IKEA. And sometimes we have IKEA furniture and we don't want other people to know that we got it from IKEA. So what do? We swap out that hardware. Now, this works best for items that only have one knob, right? Because when we have things that have two holes already made, it's kind of hard to find hardware that will work for it, because IKEA has like their own measurements, right? They do things in their own way so that you'll keep buying IKEA. But if something only has one hole, you can actually use that existing hole and then make another one. It makes it a lot easier for you. But switch out that hardware. Make something longer. Give something a new shape. Even get different hardware from IKEA. IKEA does sell other hardware. It'll just really switch it up and make that piece look unique. And I know it's such a simple thing, but it really makes a world of difference. And this works for any piece of furniture, whether that be your kitchen cabinets, whether that be like your kids' storage chest. Changing out the hardware really does a lot. If you're into modern and contemporary design, get something really nice and long, maybe in a brushed brass or a gold or a silver. If you're really into farmhouse, maybe you'll add a cup pull. If you're into bohemian, maybe you'll add like a faux leather pull. There are so many things that you can do to really elevate those IKEA pieces, and it really starts with the hardware. And hardware doesn't just mean knobs and pulls. This can also mean feet. So IKEA legs are really easy to twist off, because you had to twist them on in the first place because they didn't assemble it for you. So you can get legs from anywhere. What I like to do is actually go to Lowe's and get some wooden legs, and you can paint them any color with spray paint. You can add texture with baking soda. You can do whatever you want to really elevate these pieces. And if you have a lot of extra money in your budget, you can get really nice hardware from your favorite luxury stores and put that on there. You can also go on Amazon. I find really good hardware from luxury places on Amazon all the time. They just rebrand it because we love a good dupe, and that's how I'm able to really elevate pieces. Last year, when I actually did my dining room makeover, and you're like, Kiva, your dining room looks different now. Well, when I did my first dining room makeover, I actually built my own cabinet to look like something from Restoration Hardware, and I just grabbed hardware from IKEA to make it look really nice instead of making it look like a kitchen cabinet, because it really was a kitchen cabinet. I drilled two together and I put on long IKEA hardware, and it looked really nice and luxe, and it didn't cost me that much money at all. Now, this is something that you might have to save up to do, but another way to elevate your IKEA furniture is to actually switch out the fronts of the cabinet. So, Kiva, what does that mean? You can switch out cabinet fronts. That's what I did in my kitchen. I don't have an IKEA kitchen, but I got new cabinet fronts from new cabinet doors, and I was able to do something a little bit more custom. This tends to be a lot more affordable than buying a whole new piece of furniture. So what you can do with IKEA, there's so many websites online, I will link them down below, where you can actually get custom cabinet fronts. So for your Billy, for your Besta, for your whatever IKEA product it is, they make their own cabinet fronts. So if you want something with rattan, if you want something with wicker, if you want something that has zigzags on it, there's someone out there that makes that. So instead of buying those IKEA doors, maybe pay a premium of maybe $5 or $10 more and get those custom doors so that your IKEA furniture doesn't look the same as someone else's IKEA furniture. You can do the same thing with sofas. They actually have sofa covers. I believe the company is called BEMS. I will write it up on the screen if that's not correct, and I'll write it up on the screen if it is correct. But that brand, they actually make sofa covers. So from all the different IKEA sofas, if you can only afford an IKEA sofa, but you don't want it to look super Scandinavian, which IKEA sofas just do, you can get a different cover from this company, and it's going to look so unique, and that's what we want to do. Luxury spaces look unique, so we want to get something different from everyone else. Now, if getting a new door or a new sofa cover is not in your budget, what you can do is actually add decorative molding to your IKEA furniture. So I've seen tons of people do this. I've done it myself, and I'm going to share the most notable two with you today. So Peony and Honey, she's one of my friends over on Instagram. She's amazing if you love DIY content. What she did is she actually put decorative molding on front of a Billy, and it looks so luxe. It really, really works with her design style. I'll put up a picture here. Same thing, Kristen McGowan did something similar to her IKEA Calyx, and it looks phenomenal. The opportunities are endless. You can use peel and stick trim. You can get trim from your local store. I have even found wooden pieces at the Dollar Tree that I might actually add to IKEA furniture to really jazz it up. Again, you can jazz up IKEA furniture in any way you want. In one of my first ever YouTube videos, I actually covered an IKEA lac table. I drilled two together and I covered it in mortar. So I got the cement look without actually having to buy a cement table. So that was a fun little IKEA hack there. So you can just dress up the existing IKEA furniture, paint it, add decorative molding, do whatever you want. Just be sure you have a good sander and a lot of time, because it does take a little bit of effort, but I promise you it looks so much more high end. Now, this is the absolute easiest way to elevate your IKEA stuff. So if you have IKEA picture frames and they're like, oh, they look too plastically, they look too boring, what I want you to do is just make larger mats for your artwork. So matting artwork really sets pieces apart. A family photo without a mat and a family photo with a mat, you're like, wow, it looks fantastic. What did you do? Well, all I did is I literally added a white piece of paper or black piece of paper inside. I actually made my own mats a few months ago when I was doing my restoration hardware DIY artwork. What you can do is you can get cardstock and kind of make your own mat, or you can find really affordable photo mats on Amazon and online in general and make your own photo mats. This is really going to elevate your IKEA frame, because a frame is a frame. The only real difference between IKEA frames and other frames is that IKEA uses a plexiglass and other more luxurious companies use glass. But if you don't really care about that, the only real difference is the mat. So what you want to do is just create a larger mat. It's going to make your artwork look so sophisticated. Again, just think of when you look at those beautiful gallery walls in Restoration Hardware, or you look at artwork in our house or Modani or any of your favorite celebrities' homes. It's always matted, especially when they're prints. It really just takes things to the very next level, and it's something that you can DIY for under $1. Okay everyone, that's it for today's video. Those were 9 ways to elevate your cheaper furniture using IKEA. IKEA is such a wonderful tool, especially if you're working with a smaller budget, but even if you aren't, let's save money and get the same value. If you liked today's video, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and check me out on Instagram. And until next time, have a beautiful day.